welcome back to my channel. Today I didn't plan to make a video about 9/11, but after seeing all the posts on social media and seeing news snippets, it awoken something in me, and I decided to do a video, sort of like a story time telling of the exact moment of where I was on that day and how I felt about it and how I still feel about it. Obviously it was September 11th, 2001, and I was about 4 to 5 months pregnant with my first daughter. And I remember lying in bed, I was watching, I think Ananda Lewis's talk show had just came out that day. I think I was in the first few minutes of the show, or I think I was waiting for it to come on. Can't remember exactly. But I remember the news interrupted and came on, and I was upset. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I was anticipating this show and we were waiting on it, and now you guys are interrupting. Being selfish in the moment, I didn't realize what was happening. No one knew what was going on. And I remember the news coverage came on of the first plane. I think it was the first plane, when the first plane went through the tower.
It's 8:52 here in New York. I'm Bryant Gumbel. We understand that there has been a plane crash on the southern tip of Manhattan. You're looking at the World Trade Center. We understand that a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center. We don't know anything more than that. We don't know if it was a commercial aircraft. We don't know if it was a private aircraft. We have no idea how many were on board or what the extent of the injuries are right now.
As I said, no one knew what was going on. I'm thinking, okay, it might be pilot error or something like that. And I think the news coverage kept, we were on that, and I think we went back, after that happened, we went back to the show, and then maybe about half an hour in again, it was interrupted again, and I'm like, what the hell? And when the second plane hit, I think that's when everyone started to take it like really serious. It can't be another pilot error. It can't be another simple accident. Like, it had to be something more, but we still didn't know what was going on. And I started to cry because I'm like, all I can think about is everyone that was in the plane at the moment and everyone that was in the towers at the moment, because the plane it's not like the plane went in like at the top or whatever. It went in like center mass sort of thing. So the building is basically burning from the middle down. So people are still in there trapped alive at the top and those at the bottom. And I'm just crying, I was crying, simply because, the hormones as well, and just basic humanity. Like, people are dying. People already died. Those who are on the plane and those who are trapped in the building that can't get out, and those who were probably on the floor, not probably, those who were on the floors that got hit directly. And as it went on, because the news has a way of sensationalizing things. So the news coverage kept going on and on and on and on and repeating the same things over and over and over and over until I think the other planes hit in Washington. And later on that day, it's like everything came out like it was a terrorist threat or whatever. And I started to cry even harder. And I'm like, this is the world I'm bringing my baby into? Like, how could there be so much hate in the world that you're doing this to innocent people? Like, I'm sure everyone, when they got on the plane that day, they didn't expect anything to happen. And then all the thoughts kept going through my head. I'm like, why didn't they do something? Why didn't someone try to help? At least if they try to help, maybe, you know, maybe they would have gotten killed or something, or maybe so many wouldn't have died and everything, you know, victim blaming. Like, all the thoughts are just running through my head, and I just couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand it. You know, and 19 years later, I still remember that day. I remember how I felt. I remember what I was doing. It was just a crazy moment. And I remember hearing, you know, this was probably like a few days later, like the voicemails that people were leaving for their families. And I said I wasn't gonna cry on camera, and I'm not crying on camera because I'm a thug. You know, thugs don't cry. And that's my son in the background. It was just crazy. Like, I just couldn't understand it. Like, why? Like, so many people were affected that day. You know, the people that their loved ones were affected, the people that witnessed it, even just the people that were watching. Because I had 2 sisters and a brother that lived in New York City at the time. And all I kept thinking was, I hope they're not around the area. I hope they're not. And I remember, I think I called my brother and my dad afterwards. And I'm not sure if I got a hold of them right away, but I end up speaking to them after, and also my sisters. And for that whole day, I just laid in bed crying. I'm like, why? You know? I mean, now I know why, you know, but it still didn't make any sense. It was just crazy. And from that day, it's like everyone's world changed, obviously. I don't look at news the same. I barely watch the news nowadays, if I could avoid it. Because as I said, like, the news tend to sensationalize stuff, and it does something to your psyche. It does something to your psyche, whether you think it or not. It's just, you know. But that's my short little story time of what happened, what I was doing on 9/11, what my thoughts were, and just rest in peace to everyone that died that day, everyone who died after, you know, the emergency personnel that came to help. And it's just, I hope something like this never happens again. You know, we've all seen what the world has become and what has happened, but that remains one of the most single worst tragedies that has happened. And we'll never forget 19 years later. Like, there's so many things that happen in life that I can't remember what happened, you know, what I was doing, but that specific moment is like rooted in my head. I can see the room that I was in. You know, I can see the bed, I can see the TV. And like I said, you know, like, I feel so selfish because I got mad at first when the news interrupted my show. I'm like, you know, and I still feel guilty about that. But at the time, you know, like I said, I didn't know what was going on. No one knew. But I still feel guilt towards that. And, you know, I'm going to end it here before I started to burst into tears on camera, because that's not what I'm trying to do. But it was a sad day. It's still a sad day. You know, for us who weren't directly involved, you know, but there are kids who had to grow up without their parents, you know. There are people that lost loved ones. There are people who were still affected, like those who got cancer and stuff like that from, you know, working, or who are directly around the area and, you know, inhaled the ashes and all that stuff. And, you know, So if you've made it to the end of the video, share in the comments below how you were affected on 9/11, what you were doing that day. And you know, this is not the most happiest story time. It's, you know, there's no gossip or whatever. It's not juicy. But if you've made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching, and give a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe if you like. Bye, guys.